Metering, which Nemra will take us through that presentation. And as the sessions, we will give you an opportunity to ask us, our general manager in strategy will take us through the presentation. Over to you, Joe.
Thank you, Program Director. Good morning, Johannesburg Water.
Sorry, I've just been told we're not on air, so they said to halt it a bit.
Yeah. What's happening?
You have to do that again.
Say again. Rajabo, where are we starting? Jones is standing at the podium. Are we starting at the podium or right from the beginning? Okay, cool. Okay.
Good morning, Johannesburg Water family. Thank you, Program Director. It is that time of the year again where we engage in terms of the state of the company. That's what we call it, from the performance point of view. And it also, under ordinary circumstances, this is the beginning of our financial year, the quarter one. So if you want to make resolutions of the new year, of the financial year, this is the right time that you can make those resolutions in terms of the performance of the organization. On my presentation, I'll be taking you through the overview of quarter one in terms of the indicators, key performance indicators, performance as well as the financial performance at a high level. Always say the first indicator normally report is about the finance, state of our finance, in particular the issue of the revenue, because of revenue is key to fund the operations, to fund the projects and all that. So from the revenue point of view, we have a revenue of 4.425 billion against the budget of 4.475, slightly below the budget, but we can do better in that space. And the cash position as the end of September was 2.1 billion against a budget of 857 million, which we have done extremely well in that position. I'm glad also to report that our metering and revenue project brought in an additional 62 million in our coffers. Then when we look at the performance indicators themselves, we have 28 key performance indicators. On those 28, 6 are annual targets. We are not reporting on them. And then the company, we achieved 12, and 10 were not achieved in that space. And on those 10 that were not achieved, we have 4 that were above 90% the performance. And there we have 6 that are problematic in that their performance was below the 90%. Maybe I will just start with a focus on those 6. The intervention, the first one is the percentage final effluent compliance, which the target was 79% and the actual was 67.5%. In this space, this is one of the indicators that we actually spent quite some time in terms of the interventions. And the interventions in this space from the infrastructure point of view, they are long-term in terms of what the teams are doing there. So that is why it's an indicator that we just can't turn the corner overnight in one quarter. So we have some action plans that have been provided by the department in terms of what they're going to be doing in that space. Let's have a look at the percentage implementation of field management service. You will recall field management service is what we call our Uber model that we are implementing in terms of how we're doing work, where our teams will be in the field, they will receive the jobs while they are in the field, execute from the field. The customer will be able to see where the teams are, what the teams are doing in that space. So we didn't achieve this one. The target for quarter one was 30%, and the actual is 0%. I'm not going to spend a lot. My colleague is here, Rubens da Silva, will also be talking about the field service, field management services. The next one on the IT side, still business transformation, digitization for the process for recruitment and supply chain. Our target was 10%. We are at the 0. We didn't achieve the target on this one. The third one, the percentage implementation of a customer relationship management solution, at 10% as well, than the 0%. So these three indicators actually calls that while we are still in the beginning of the financial year, I think this is an area that we need to arrest and make sure that we can actually, because of if these are all the targets that we have in the scorecard, that this is quarter one, but going to quarter two, I think we need to make a speedy recovery. And the department, they've put mitigations in plan in terms of where they are on the supply chain processes and also the internal mechanism that they are putting in place on this one. Let's have a look at the next KPI that didn't do well, percentage water best restored within 48 hours of notification. This is in the heart of our business. This is where service delivery is in terms of how do we respond to restoration of services once it has been notified on the water side. The target was 85% and we achieved the 70.78. This one, I'm elevating this KPI because as I mentioned, it's in the heart of service delivery. Service failure is critical. In particular, when you look at the water side, this must be read in conjunction with our effort on water conservation, water demand management, because of if we take longer to restore these services, we're also losing some water. Losing some water, it becomes a resource issue. It also becomes a financial issue because of the water that we lose. That's the money that we also lose on this precious resource that is water. The last indicator that didn't do well, it's a percentage implementation of an internal training plan. Our target was 20%, and the achievement for the quarter was 20%. Be able to quickly recover as we move forward. So earlier when I started, I said that quarter one is a time for making resolutions of the new year. So these 6 areas, we'll be monitoring them closely so that we can be able to recover on these 6 areas as part of our 28 KPIs on the balance scorecard. Let me go through the others that is done well. We can't just talk about areas balanced approach. That I would like to mention will be the percentage of total triple BEE procurement. We have achieved the target of 133% against 133%. Number of job opportunities created based on EPWP. We have achieved 696 against a target of 140, and also we supported 36 SMMEs against the target. So these number 2 and 3 are very critical. Number of sewer blockages per 100 kilometers of network length. Our achievement was 125 against a target of 131. This indicates the performance of infrastructure, as well as number 5, number of pipe bursts per 100 kilometers of network length. We We achieved 96 against the target of 107. The renewal rate of the infrastructure, we achieved 0.1% against the target of 0.1%. And our capital expenditure, we achieved 18% against the target of 10%, meaning that the budget that we have been provided with, we do utilize that budget. Drinking water, our biggest risk in the organization, we have achieved 99.7 against the target of 99 when coming to drinking water quality. And number 9 and 10, basic services, access to basic services, they are not due for reporting for the quota is part of the 6 I mentioned earlier. This 11 and 12 I've discussed earlier. Consumption, water liters consumption per capita per day, 2255 against the target of 260. And the IT1, 14, 15, and 16 I've discussed earlier, including the percentage water burst restored within 48 hours. The sewer blockages cleared within 24 hours. We achieved 94% against a target of 92. And percentage actual water meter readings against a target of 91.5, we achieved 88.1. And the rand net profit before bad debt, we achieved 1.3 billion against a target of 1.4 billion. And the percentage of resolution of internal audit findings, we are at 15% against the target of 15%. On the employment equity, percentage female employees, we achieved a target of 36.34 against a target of 37.38. And on the disabling injury frequency rate, we have achieved 1.05 against the target of 1.5. At a high level on our financial performance, I've already touched upon some of the indicators that we are tracking from the financial point of view. The revenue, I spoke about it. The cash at bank, that I also spoke about it. The issue that also is a concern, which for the quarter we have done well, the collection rate was 74% against the budget collection of 72.8%. So colleagues, at a high level, this is the picture that we have as an organization for quarter one. But as I made mention that I'm quite confident that as part of our new year resolution, we'll be able to recover from the areas that we're doing well, and we can see traction from those areas or other areas going forward. Thank you, Chairperson. This is a state of the company for the quarter one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mnisi, on that presentation. Indeed, it is a well-balanced performance for Q1. On the KPIs that we have achieved, we just need to accelerate our performance. And on the 6 that were not achieved, I reported that there are plans from the various areas of the business to improve on the performance. So thank you very much. We will then move on to our next presentation, which Nembra will take us through. Over to you.
Good morning, colleagues. I almost said, and the viewers at home. Anyway, my name is Nembra Maluleke, and I will be taking you through the TID rollover project. So this is just, my presentation is sweet and short. It's just sort of information sharing so that, so as to keep the colleagues in the know of what is happening and what the project entails. So what is TID and who does it affect? So the TID rollover project, it aims to ensure that all the STS-based meters are upgraded to the new KRN, which is key revision number. It's actually KRN2. So currently, there are meters that are still on KRN1, which is the old version. So now we are trying to move, not trying, we are moving those meters to KRN2. And the reason for that is, maybe let me rather start with this. So we do have, I'm not sure, there are colleagues, I'm quite sure that are in prepaid. They're utilizing the prepaid metering systems. So we have two technologies at the moment. They are running concurrently, and that is the Dallas Tech and the new technology, which is the STS technology. So customers that are based on the Dallas Tech technology are not affected by this project or this rollover project. The customers that are affected, however, are those that are on the STS. So the reason for this upgrade is because all STS meters on the 24th of November this year, which is in 2 weeks' time, I believe, those meters will stop accepting credit unless they receive the two tokens, which are called the key change tokens, KCT tokens, KCTs. So it's basically key change tokens. So customers, what they need to do is to ensure that they do get those key change tokens so that their meters don't stop, accepting that credit post the 24th of November. So the aim, like I said, is to make sure that all these meters are then recoded to the new KRN, which is KRN2. So why the upgrade? So the upgrade matters because it's gonna, prevent service disruptions in that customers will be able to load their credit into their meters because failure to do that, like I indicated, it will result in their meters not accepting that credit, and in turn, they will not have access to water. So it also provides, the TID, it also provides future-ready infrastructure for smart water management. It also provides immediate response for any tampering activities. This means that if there's any tampering activity on any of these STS meters, we'll be able to pick it up because the system is going to flag it on our end so that we can act accordingly and deal with those customers that would be transgressing. All STS prepaid meters that have been using tokens purchased from unauthorized vendors. So this will eliminate ghost vending as well, because in the prepaid space, we have been, hit a lot by ghost vending and therefore affecting our revenue collection. So this will eliminate the ghost vending activities as well, in that any tokens purchased from ghost vendors, the meters, after they receive the key change tokens, will not accept those particular credits. So what to do if your meter is not upgraded? All customers need to do, colleagues, is to just purchase credit. It's very simple. It's to just go to their vending point, or, so the STS, if I may add as well, it provides, various vending platforms as well. People can purchase from the comfort of their own homes. They can purchase via the banking channel, the big retailers, or the mullahs around the corner next to their homes. So what they need to do then is to just purchase the credit, and they will receive 2 sets of 20-digit codes. So they just need to punch in those codes. One after another, and if all tokens are accepted, then it means the meter is then upgraded. And there is a way to check if the meter has been successfully recorded. How to do that is Those that purchase, I know there are those that get paid, I don't know, maybe twice a month. But for those that get paid, once a month, like some of us, in the next purchase, they need to, just check the receipt, and under the token or the units, it will say KRN2. So if it says KRN1, it means the meter was not successfully upgraded and it's still on the old version. So if it says KRN2, it means the meter has been successfully upgraded. There is another way to check though. They can just key in those numbers in there, 1844-6744, 0738-4377-2416 into their CIU of the meters, and the meter will indicate what KRN it's on. So I've also put together the frequently asked questions. These are some of the questions that we have encountered since we've started with the project. Some customers would ask, but why they changed? Or because I've just been moved from the Dallas Tech meter to the SES, and now you're telling me about the upgrade, whereas my meter is still new. So this project, this upgrade is necessary to ensure that the meters still functions correctly, even post 24 November 2024. And what happens if they don't key in those tokens is any credit tokens, if whether bought prior or after the key change tokens were generated, the meters will not accept. So this is very crucial. What happens to tokens that I have purchased and not used? All tokens that have been or were purchased prior the issuing of the key change tokens, they all need to be loaded, unless otherwise the meter is going to reject them and they will deem them as old tokens once those key change tokens have been generated. Will the units on my meter be cleared? No. The remaining credit on the meter will remain the same. So this does not affect the credit, it just updates the meter into KRN2. Will the meter require replacement? No, we are not replacing the meter. And this process, colleagues, it's important to note as well that it's an automated process. So like I said, customers just need to purchase and then they will receive their key change tokens and then punch them in as displayed on the receipt, and then the upgrade will then take place. So this is just a snippet of how the receipt looks like. That's the first key change token there. That's the second key change token, and then that's the actual credit that the customer would have purchased, depending on whether it's the first purchase of the month or the second. If it's the first purchase of the month, then the customer will receive 4 tokens. If it's not the first, the fourth being the free basic water. So if it's not the first token, the receipt will then display only 3 tokens, which are the 2 key change tokens and the credit token. So this is how customers that's the number 011-688-1980, or they can just email us at jw.prepaymentvending@jwater.co.za, or they can utilize the normal customer service platforms. So this is just the progress on the TID itself. I know that we are not where we envisaged to be at this point, seeing that it's only 2 weeks remaining until the 24th of November, which is the cutoff date. We are currently sitting at 24% of customers that have been upgraded. If we are looking at the overall STS population. However, it is important to note as well that not all 52 customers are purchasing. So we have roughly, I think, about 17,000, 18,000 customers that are, actively purchasing. And so when we look at that, at converting, those customers that are actively purchasing, we're sitting at about 74%, which is, well, like I said, we are not where we want to be, but we are getting there. And so there is about, I think it's about 35,000 meters that will need physical intervention, in that we will be physically issuing those key change tokens and go into those properties to physically upgrade those meters. So that will be happening since we received, an extension. There's a 6 months extension into this project, which I think it will end in sometime in May. So yeah, we are hopeful that we would have reached everyone by then. And yeah, that is it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Nembra, for that insightful presentation on a project and initiative that is critical, is at the core of our service, delivery. So thank you very much for the update and the presentation. We'll then take our last presentation, which our Chief Information Officer, Ruben Zasilva, will take us through on the FSM. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Program Director, and thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you on our FSM project. FSM stands for Field Services Management, and just to give a bit of background and context, so this project has been in the making for quite some time now, and one of the key things about this project that we are looking at is the use of technology to, shall we say, improve how we do business, and specifically in this case, our works management process. So if we look at our works management process, and Jones mentioned it briefly, is all about how we issue, the job cards to our workforce team out there in the field. So the key things from the FSM project that shall we say, are the key objectives of the project and the deliveries. So we want to equip our workforce teams with technology. So here I have, a ruggedized device, which will be given to our workforce teams. And through this device, they will be able to receive, their job cards and be able then to capture information. So no more the use of paper, and if we look at that entire process, what it takes, this will streamline that process much more and it become much more effective. The second key thing is in terms of, as I mentioned, in terms of that entire works management process, from the time we receive a service request from the city, which then translates into a work order, and then it's become a job card. If you look at that entire process, this project will streamline that and reduce significant amount of time. And as I mentioned, from an automation perspective, reduce paper. Thirdly, and very important, this project, using this technology, will improve the customer feedback that we provide to our customers and citizens out there. So they will have, many people out there have a smartphone, so they will be able to download an app, and through that app, they will be able to log service requests, be it for network, be it for sewer, or even for meter, and that will come then through the system, and as I mentioned, through the automation, the workforce teams will receive those job cards on the system. So in terms of the people working on the project, I would like to take this opportunity to mention the people on the project. So I'm the program director, and I'm joined here today with Jones Menisi, who is the executive sponsor of our project. And two very key people that are not here is Ms. Sue Ruprol and Mr. Edward Livesey. Okay, they are the project managers for this project. And when we started this project, it was very important that although we talk about a technology solution, it mustn't be seen that it's just an IT technology solution. So it was very important that we rope in business into this, and we're very fortunate to have Sue Ruprol from operations, because she really understands the operations and the nature of the business, to be able to also then to bring in that wealth and that knowledge in terms of the project to guarantee its success. So other benefits in terms of this project, through this device, the workforce teams will be able to access other information. So some of the other information is that they'll be able to see drawings in terms of our sewer network or infrastructure. And I experienced this, colleagues, firsthand. So the management team, not so long ago, had an opportunity to go out there, to the field with the teams, and the team that was busy unblocking one of the sewer mains, and the guys were wondering, that this could possibly be there as a junction between, in the infrastructure. And through this device, and they were looking for it, but through this device, they'll be able then, like I mentioned, to access our infrastructure drawings and then see, where everything is connected. The other benefit of this solution is the workforce teams will have visibility in terms of our materials in the stores, which we understand that is a very key, shall we say, component for the workforce teams to have availability of materials. But in the event, when they go out to do a job, if they need material and they don't have it available, through this device, they'll be able to view and access the system and see, whether or not the material is available in stores. Okay, from a project status perspective, so we are at about 70% in terms of the project, or probably a little bit more. The solution has pretty much been designed and configured. We are now in the process of doing our final integration testing with the view that we will deploy the solution now in November. Now, in terms of deployment, we have taken a staggered approach. So it's not a big bang approach. It is a staggered approach. And then we will, in terms of the staggered approach, we will train a number of the operations, of course, and the workforce team leaders in terms of the use of the system. Change management, colleagues, has been a very important aspect and component of the project. As part of change management, we have successfully gone out there to the depots, 10 of the network depots, and obviously create the awareness in terms of the solution, what it's all about, and the impact it will have. We have appointed change agents to support us in terms of this project. So change agents are people who are the staff that are at the operation sites, and they've been as part of the depot visits that we did. They were elected, and they will be supporting us in terms of this project. In terms of the training, so we have already conducted a lot of training. The IMIS staff, the data controllers, the new connection managers, and also our call center agents have all been trained on the solution to date. As I mentioned, the next phase of the training, we are going to be targeting our operations sites. So, colleagues, so that's where we are from a project status perspective. Technology solution. It's really a platform that it will enable us to, do other things in terms from a business process. So currently we are with phase one, which largely speaks to reactive work that we need to do. As per the KPI on the balance scorecard, which Jones mentioned, we are in the process. We started work with phase 2, which is going to speak to preventative maintenance on our networks, and we hope to have that implemented by next year in June. And then even after that, there's also going to be a phase 3 for the project, and that's where we're going to be seeing integration with some of our other key systems, such as IMQS. So colleagues, yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Rubens, for that update, which is really moving us, towards, virtual platforms, which would improve our efficiency and effectiveness. Thank you to the panel for all the presentations. It is now time to, take questions, and I would like to encourage colleagues to please send us questions on, Teams or on WhatsApp. So in terms of the questions, how we'll do it is we already have some questions that came through the WhatsApp platform. So we'll start with those. It's just 2 questions. And then after that, we will then, take questions from the audience, which our colleagues from Comms will just assist in facilitating, those questions. So the 2 questions that have come through on our WhatsApp platform, the first one is to HR or to the GM. When are you going to advertise T-code posts of OPS and WDM? It's been about 2 years now without a fully functional structure. So that's the first question. The second question is relating to overtime. So the concern is that the ops and the DMS and the regional managers are not always agreeing to signing overtime or approving overtime. As a result, we have to be forwarding to head office, for consideration. So how are we going to resolve this? So can I request you, Jones, to take on the first question, and I'll then talk to the second question on overtime.
Thank you, Chair. Just a little bit of some background. From the water demand management, we are reviewing how we are doing business. We have a strategy we approved in 2021, which called for realigning the way we are doing business. And part of that has been consultation with all the departments that have been affected and the employees. So we have been on a drive. We, actually myself and the other team members, because I'm part of that team. So, and one of the things that has happened is that in that particular space, there are some areas that we are waiting this consultation of this realignment prior to some of the issues to have been concluded. Our last consultation that we had, for instance, when we had the issue, the team of artisan, there has been some ongoing grading of their position that happened even before the realignment. So such processes, in a way, we had to put them on hold to finalize this realignment, because of this realignment had to inform some of those areas. So if I understand the question of these T codes being part of the water demand management, we'll just have to check and ensure, are these the positions, some that we're awaiting this consultation? And by the way, I'm quite happy to report that that consultation is almost 90% done. We should be moving towards finalizing this consultation and these other areas that have been put on hold, so that it can be able to start taking place. But obviously, such a project takes a lot of consultation with a number of stakeholders. So it is one of the areas that somehow we might be criticized that the project is a little bit slow, but we just want to make sure that all stakeholders are on board with this part of this process. So in terms of these positions, the T codes in the WTM, I think once we move now towards the final stages, any other position or process that were put on hold, we will be able to deal with. And even the issue that I've raised on the question that were asked about the positions that we're grading, I have engaged with the HR as part of the regrading process. Can we fast track this process so that it can assist us in that space? Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Jones. So on the question relating to overtime, I think what's critical is to understand, the process. So in terms of overtime, overtime has to be approved. It has to be, pre-approved by, the line managers at the regional, level before it actually, happens. And that approval is quite, critical, to make sure that it's then, compliance with the processes and, the policies. And colleagues will be aware that there is a particular threshold in terms of the overtime hours that can be approved at the regional, level. So the minute that overtime breaches the 43 hours for individuals, it then has to be submitted, to head office to be considered and approved. So that is the process that has to be complied with. So what we then just need to check is whether the challenge is the approval at the regional or the concern that the ones that are over 43, that get submitted, to the head office are a challenge. And in one of our, MD's visits, to the depots, the general, manager for operations has actually undertaken, that as far as that process is concerned, where the ones that are over the 43, hours are submitted, his office is actually fast-tracking, approval, of those. So I hope that, clarifies from a process, point of view. Thank you. We will now take some questions from the audience, which the team, Swanseni, you can help us. Perhaps you can take a set of, say, 5 questions at a go, and then we'll respond to those questions. Thank you.
Okay. Is it morning? Morning, everyone. Mina, I'm Vukaya NB, Senior Process Controller at Annandale West Water. I've got 2 questions that I need to raise or to find out how far are we or what are they plan to sort it out. We have an issue of staff replacement or understaff at bulk waste. And that led us to non-compliance when it comes to doing our job properly. And another thing, an issue of RFQ, because when you have machinery breakdowns and so on, wherever we report to, you will find that the issue is RFQ. So do we have any plan to change that so we can really do our job properly as bulk waste?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bitumelo from Prepayment. My question will be directed to the first question to Membra. Membra, remember we have the STS meters, né? Before we have SPM meters. Now the STS meters, they don't show tariffs on the screen like SPM meters. So it is a big challenge for our people that they cannot maybe measure their water. And then the second one, it will be on the vending. Why we using an ESCOM when we use the app, let's say I use the app to buy water, why I'm using this an electricity to buy water? And if you can see, on that, the water cannot last. It means it measures by kilowatts, not by kiloliters. And then the vending one, again, the last one on the vending. The Pick and Pay and Boxer and ShopRite, they're still not selling the water. And it's a big challenge for us and for customers, because it leads the customers to do a bypass, illegal connections. So how far with that one so far? The last one, it will be on the HR. The grading, I don't know, there is a turnaround time for the grading, because it's been a lot of, consultation. It is possible to grade a manager first, and then you left your Can you clarify that one for us? And on the technology one, what?
FSM.
Yeah, SFM. Can we get the presentation at prepaid, please? So that we can understand what we will be working with. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Godliff from Hood Copies. I have two questions. Regarding the performance, on the financial year of 2022-2023, we see things changed. Until December, some, they get their performance on January. But on 2018-2019, we didn't get our performance because of late submission or some other things that Mina, as an artisan, I don't know, but I've been affected with that. So I want to know, from 2018-2019, we didn't put things, or we didn't try to correct, because it happened on 22-23. The things are happening on 2019, but people are get paid. Some were paid on December, some paid on January. So there was no balance, according to me, on that one. And until today, it didn't even sit well to me as an artisan to be affected with whatever did by manager, if manager did something. Then my second question is, MD, when he visit our plant at Hood Copies, he make things look easier to get the asset. When we ask the question, now it's 2 years, if you go to our kitchen, we don't have a boiler. He said, Madam Talk, that's a small things you can purchase. But if you go to the manager, he can show you pile of papers. They are busy trying to order this thing, go to head office, come back, head office, come back. So it is difficult at Hood Copies in our kitchen. When you go to our restroom, the hand dryers, they are not working also, we don't have them. But MD make it as if it's easy to get them. It's something that we can get even after 2 days when he left the Hood Copies. But now it's almost 2 to 3 years, we don't have them. Thank you.
Can we respond?
Morning, everyone. This is in regards to the helpers, the cleaners that we've had for the past 5 years in our depots. The uncertainties around them being at the depots. Is it not possible for the company to prioritize them whenever there's general workers posts, because they feel left out? most of the time when they apply for posts, they are not considered. So this is just a question to say, can the company not prioritize them?
Okay, thank you. I think let's then allow the panel to take this first set, of questions. Jones, let me start with you on, questions that relate to performance and just the ones that you can then be able to, respond. And Nembra will come after you on the area.
Thank you, Chair. Starting with the first question regarding the staff replacement at bulk wastewater, as well as the RFQ process. As I made mention in my presentation, that behind the scenes on what we are seeing here, we do engage with the departments to unlock any bottlenecks that we have, like in particular this area of bulk wastewater. Early this year, we got the team in one room, we got supply chain in one room, we got communications, we got HR in one room, and we asked bulk wastewater, what are the impediments of you being able to do the work? And each and every department of bulk wastewater, we say, let's see where you are with the vacant positions. Because I can tell you all the treatment works, we had a view at, I think our workshop, it was early in May, and the last one, it was, the follow-up was the one in last month, in October. So I'm saying this to you to say basically, these issues that you are raising, firstly, in terms of the recruitment, because of there is a timeline of all the treatment works, we ask them, tell us all your vacant positions and tell us where you are. So that process is happening. I might not have specifics at the moment, but through this, we call them efficiency workshops. We sit like the last workshop. We spend the whole day. We sat with the team the whole day. Each and every works unpacks their impediments from the infrastructure, from the HR. And by the way, when we are there, HR is here, supply chain is here. Like the issue of RFQs. When we had the workshop in early this year, April, May, we said, bring those RFQ by number. Let's not just say RFQ. Let's say these RFQ, and supply chain was next to us because of recall supply chain. So I think from management on the bulk wastewater, you know exactly the process. If there are any RFQ, and this is the issue where sometimes the MD is being criticized. I'll come back to that question to say MD simplifies things. To say when we engage with that, these RFQs, let management bring them by number. They know that we have created a platform, the efficiency workshop. Please, management, if there are still any RFQs, we have created the platform that we can engage with the supply chain to make sure that those RFQs are actually unlocked. So the issues that you raise, the filling of positions and the RFQ, this is the platform that we have created. If there is still any, I please request the management from bulk wastewater to use the efficiency platform so that those issues can be actually unlocked. Hard copies. The issue on the January, the 22, 23, and 28, 2019. Some of you might be aware that 2018-19, it didn't just end up with the performance being late. There were consequences for people who caused that delay. Some of you might be aware of that report that we investigated why employees submitted late. And the results were that partly it's because of the managerial issues and partly it's because of employees. And we took a very, very tough stance at that stage when we were actually doing that exercise to say where there's management, they've dropped the ball and there must be consequences. And actions were taken in that 2018, 2019. So your question is that, haven't we learned the lesson from remember in 2018-19, from the contracting process point of view, the numbers were very, very low. It was even an audit finding in terms of our contracting. But post those corrective action, we could see an increase in terms of the percentage of contracting. It might not be at a desired level, but that exercise, there were lessons that were learned, and people were held to accountable, in particular, those who are in leadership. MD's visit from the treatment works, I am part of the visit time and again, and I've had a common response when we come in some of these things to say, here you are again, this same issue, it was raised last year and the other year and the other year. But what are we doing different? All the issues that were raised by depot, we have noted, not only noted them, behind the scenes, we are holding management to account. Every depot, treatment, wherever we have visited, we have all those issues, be it the toilet roll holder, be it the globe, be it the kitchen, be it the tree felling and all that. All those issues are consolidated. There is a report that on a monthly basis, we are clearing those issues. We haven't started getting back to employees on the feedback, but I commit that all the areas that we visited, all the issues, management will come back and report back on those issues once they are cleared. Because of those issues, they are in that report, and they will never be ticked off that list until management can not only confirm that they have resolved the issues, that the kitchen, that you have the restrooms and all that. Not only to say that we have resolved the issues, giving the employees feedback. That's the only way that we can say we have closed the loop. Because we come out there with the MD, we listen to the employees, but the important thing is that the loop must be closed. But we have leadership, we have management in all these areas. MD is not going to come back and say we have fixed the toilet, the restroom dryers. Leadership in that particular space, employees, this is where we hold them accountable to say, these are the teams that you are lead. You need to go back to these teams and report back on these issues. The issues might have been raised when the MD was there, but management, we're going to hold them accountable. And I'm saying that this is happening from the office of the MD, that we have that list, and those issues will never be removed from that list until management confirms that, yes, it was done, yes, we have given feedback to the depots. Chair, I think the ones that I could respond on the operations system.
Okay, thank you. I just want to add on recruitment for bulk waste. Yes. I think it's important to update that there has been some regulatory changes in that environment that has affected the job specifications for positions. So management of bulk waste have come to the grading committee to present those changes, which the first presentation, those changes were adopted, but then there were some just minor changes that they were requested to go back and effect. So they are due to come back to be finalized at grading. So we're looking at in the next month or so, that process should then be finalized to allow for the recruitment to proceed accordingly. And also just on the 2018-2019 performance, so processes on consequence, you are indeed correct, that has given us an opportunity for improvement. However, I'm aware of there are, some areas of the business that are, still in particular, I think, hot copies, that still has some challenges with how we closed, that process, which is something that would then deal with that particular workplace with regards to the concerns, that they have. Thank you. Let's then take questions for yourself. Nembra.
Okay, so for me, there are 3 questions. The first one being, STS meters don't show the tariff on the screen. Am I correct? Did I capture it correctly? Okay. Meters. And so how the 2 technologies differ is that with the Dallas tag meters, there is no direct communication, between the vending system itself and the meter. So with that being said, it means all the calculations on the Dallas tag meters, they take place on the meter itself or on the meter level. Whereas on STS, when customers purchase, the tariff is shown on the receipt, and that is why it's not displayed on the screen of the meter. We are, however, working on getting a meter management system that will enable, us as Joburg Water to be able to have that 2-way communication with the STS meters, because currently these meters are only, it's only a 1-way communication. So we are working on that meter management system that will enable us to be able to communicate back to the meter from the vending system point of view. And that will enable customers as well to be able to manage, because they will have the app installed on their, mobile devices, where they'll be able to monitor either their consumption, the tariff, if the meter is leaking, or if there's, any other thing of concern that needs their attention. So that is number 1. So the second question was in relation to the why are we using the electricity icon when purchasing? I gather you are talking about the banking channel, right? I know that some of the banking channels haven't introduced, the water icon when customers purchase water. But we are comfortable in that customers, even though the receipt might be displaying kilowatt hours, they are actually getting their credit in kiloliters. It's just a matter of semantics, and we are working on resolving that. I know Nedbank has already effected the changes. Customers are receiving their credit as kilowatt hours, as kiloliters, as opposed to kilowatt hours. The last question is in relation to Pick n Pay and Boxer not selling water. So I know that there are some customers who have been complaining about, these big retailers not playing ball in terms of selling water, because they'll be selling today and the next day they'll tell customers that they are not selling it. It is something that we are aware of, and we are working closely with the service provider to ensure that our customers are being serviced and they do receive the service that they deserve whenever they go and or want to purchase water from all these retail outlets. Thanks.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I would ask Rubens to come in on FSM. If I could then just quickly read through the questions in that regard. Will this FSM project take over our jobs? And there was also a question relating to laptops. Why are there no laptops or computers? The colleague has been waiting for a laptop for a while. So what is the update in that regard?
Thank you very much, Program Director. So with regards to the FSM project and jobs, colleagues, I can confidently say that under no circumstance, and this will not happen. Nobody will lose their jobs. As I mentioned in my presentation, the key thing to understand is now, as I've highlighted, we are using devices and technology to improve the way that we do, issue our job cards. So it's just, if you consider from the time we receive a service request from the citizen, which is logged, from the city, which is logged by the citizen, it comes through to Johannesburg Water systems. And today, if you look at that process, somebody then has to, they get the job cards, the work orders are created, they have the job cards, they have to then go and print those job cards, and then they issue it to the foremen or to the team leaders, and then they go out to obviously perform the work. What this technology solution does is addressing, shall we say, a lot of these manual processes and automating it and using technology just to streamline it to make it more effective. So in terms of this project, under no circumstances, nobody is going to lose this job. I would also like to highlight that on a regular basis, we do present at the local labor forum, and we do provide updates there, and in terms of the progress of the project, and we've also communicated this on that platform. With regards to availability of computers and laptops, we do have a desktop refresh program in place, which runs on an annual basis. And the main objective of that program is to ensure that staff are working, shall we say, with newer devices and not old devices. There is, however, and also we have a contract in place for the supply of laptop and computers. So I am quite honestly surprised to hear that someone does not have a laptop and computer. That is no excuse, and I will definitely look into that. We are, however, in terms of we are dealing with a backlog this year, admittedly, from last year, and that was due to some financial constraints. So there's a bit of catching up, but I will look into this and ensure that the person will get a laptop and a desktop. Thank you.
Okay, let me address the HR-related, questions that came through. The one on grading, on the job grading, process. Indeed, that process is quite an intense, process which involves line management, HR, and incumbents, of positions. And the company, wide job grading initiative is currently, on. However, the first to admit that that process is taking longer than we anticipated. We have, however, from an HR perspective now, put, additional, resources to fast track, assist us to fast track that, process to ensure that all the job descriptions that have been reviewed are actually submitted to the grading, committee. So I'm expecting to see, some improvement, coming through, in this financial year. The target is the process needs to be completed by end of the financial year, and that's what the team is working towards. There was also, I think, a question raised, concern with regards to the frequency of the, grading committee meetings, which, we acknowledge we struggled with the last 2 meetings with the quorum of the committee. However, we've engaged all the stakeholders that sits in that, grading committee, which is, management and labor, to please prioritize and make, their time available so that the next meeting, of the committee can correlate. And on addressing or fast-tracking job grading, the company-wide as well, the grading committee took a resolution that as soon as those job descriptions are ready, to be presented, they are actually willing to even have additional meetings instead of just 1 meeting, per month. So the task is to, make sure that those are concluded and are ready for to submission. And then there was a question on the cleaners. So all our positions from the entry level get advertised, internally to allow our people the opportunity, to apply. So what I encourage, so the cleaners that are, insourced into, Joburg Water, is to keep track of all vacancies, and as they get advertised, to please, apply for, those positions. And if they meet requirements, then they should, be allowed to go through, the process. Thank you. I think we have covered all the questions. We are going to take the last round of 5 questions, and then we'll close until thereafter. So the last round of 5, thank you.
Greetings, colleagues. My name is Thabo Mogale. I'm from the Steel Depot and the electromechanical. Mine is a bit of a plea instead of a question. I know as it stands currently, if you are looking for a study leave, you have to be funded by the organization. I'm trying to encourage the workforce into learning and gathering of information and experience. Through self-funding, if we can look into an option of allowing the colleagues to get that study leave, even if you can limit it to a certain number, because I don't know what advice the decision to give it to only those who are funded by the organization. And the second question would go to the IT department. Since we issue our force with a cell phone, can we look into giving email addresses of the organization? Because I see now Microsoft has an option of a company portal within the phone where you can separate between the personal and the work. Will it be possible to, for instance, give an email address to an artisan so that it can seemingly be easy when they have to act that we don't apply for that temporary user for an allocated time, that they do have an email address, they can just hop into the PC and continue with their work, because sometimes a leave can come out of an emergency. We don't have that time to do that application for the temporary user credentials, or else it will be seamlessly easy when they have the email address. It's just a matter of hopping into the system and access all those other softwares that they need to access from the PC. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. Can I request that the next 4 that we're going to take, each individual just please 1 question in the interest of time, just 1 question. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Greetings to everyone, and also greetings to colleagues who are viewing from different depots. I've got many things that I've jotted down, but I'll due to some maybe type constraints, I'll be in brief. So the first one, I'll talk about the employee empowerment. Remember, at our depots, we've got our colleagues to be specific general workers who continue to make sure that day-to-day running of the business, it's attended to. Here I'm talking about those colleagues who are acting, but now when it comes to promotion opportunities, I feel like they are being left out. Why am I saying this? It's because during interviews, because of their language barriers, some of them do not get promotions just because they cannot answer some of the questions because they are limited in terms of English speaking. And to me, I just want to find out what is it that the company is doing to accommodate such people, because those people they've got the capability of doing whatever that is done on site. So my suggestion would be that, how about the company if maybe they employ someone or to come and interpret during the interview sessions can accommodate such people. Not because they don't know their job, they do know their job very well. And then even answering of in English. Thank you. The second one, it's about
Excuse
safety.
me, can we just take one question so that we can accommodate?
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary from Hamburg. I just want to ask one question. Why special services, Renberg, Hamburg, they doesn't have managers?
Doesn't have managers.
Okay.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Evelyn Mahlachi from Zandfontein. I've got two questions, but I'll only... my first question is, why do we have a medical aid now, but when we are on pension, it's been taken away?
Morning. My name is Tebogo Bongale. I'm from Hastile Depot. I've got only one question. I'm asking MD team managers to visit electromechanical section. Because up to so far, I hear the roadshow of MD going to networks, but for electromechanical, we are still waiting for management to visit us. Because we've got questions, but because of the time, I cannot express or to put the input on what we are saying. As we are saying, we are not supposed to ask 2 or 3 questions. Are we performed this year? If we perform, please, let's make our things in time. We don't want to see ourselves on December, not going maybe asking more questions to managers to see, are we going to get something at the end of the year? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, colleagues. So let's get the panel, to take on those 2 questions. Maybe I can start with the first question with regards to, to study leave. So with regard to study leave, I think whether you are funded by the company or not, you can be supported with that. However, you will still need to submit that application and that request to sub-ed so that it gets, recorded, accordingly. So that's quite important for, colleagues to know that you still have to submit that application request so that it gets to be considered by the sub-ed committee, accordingly. There was a question on employee empowerment with regards to the recruitment process. I think we do take to a note with regard to that. We will look into processes that can really, empower, our colleagues towards preparation, for these interviews. Not too sure whether the issue of, translation, is, the only option, but we'll look at that more around how do we empower and prepare them, to take on, these interviews. And I will then request, my colleagues to take to the rest. Let's start with you, Jones, on the others that are left.
Before I come, we want to take that medical. Why is it taken away? Pension?
Yes. So post-retirement medical aid, it's a benefit that the city of Joburg used to have. However, that benefit it's no more offered in the city. And it's a conversation that is actually happening at the bargaining council because it's not an entity-specific matter. that can be looked into. So that discussion is happening, at that level in terms of whether there is a case to reconsider. Obviously, it comes with cost implications, that I think one of the consideration is with regards to that. So if there are any, developments, at that level, we will, update the colleagues, accordingly. But it is a concern. I think even when we go to the MD's visits, it's one of the questions, that comes through. So we have, it's placed at that level, and, hopefully it's something that, can be looked at, going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Special services run back, we'll have to have a look at that, because we know in all units, even if there can be a vacancy, we always have someone to act. We don't leave. For every unit, there must be a leader, a supervisor in that particular space. But for this one specifically, then I'll have to get some details, because of all the units, whether the position is vacant, the managerial or the supervisory position, we always have someone who's acting in that space. We'll just have to get more details and have a look at that. Electromech, we're still coming. We will definitely be coming. Can I also take this opportunity and apologize to other depots and areas? There were instances where we scheduled and we canceled. In some instances, not only once, not only twice, thrice, or more than that. We apologize. It is not our intention to see this engagement being canceled. These engagements are very important. It's not a box-ticking exercise. We want to engage with employees. We want to have a conversation with employees. So for those that we have canceled, our apology, and will still be coming, including the Electromech. The performance of the company for the last financial year will be out in January, because we are awaiting our final 2 indicators from the Auditor General, which we will only receive at the end of November. Then in January, in early December, we should be in a position to know how has the company performed. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Just checking if we have covered everything.
There was a question about the email. But if the gentleman could just clarify, is it, I didn't quite understand, is it that they don't have access to a Joburg Water email account?
If I may, the colleague will add, it's colleagues that are allocated company phones, but do not have, dedicated email addresses. Okay. Can that be considered?
Yes, so there's no limitation, colleagues, in terms of the staff having a Joburg Water email account. So all they need to do is to follow the process in terms of, filling out the form to request, that they get an email account, and that's it. It will be provided, and they can then access. And I think that's actually a very good suggestion and idea, because there's also a lot of communication, where the email is used as a platform to communicate to our staff. So I think that's something I will look into, not only for you personally, but for the other staff members as well. Thank you.
Chair, can I just add some points on what Mary has asked earlier? Those operational managers just received additional information. Their job descriptions, they are undergoing the grading process. Probably that's the reason why they were never filled. But it's not a question that we don't have ops managers. That is why it was a concern for me to say we don't have a section without the managers. But the information is that they are going through the process, and I think the process is quite advanced. And I think they were signed last week or so at the grading meeting. But that is why there was a delay, because they had to go through the grading process. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much. I would like to take the opportunity to thank, the panel members for their presentations and for taking, the questions, and our audience for all the questions. and the colleagues back at work for being part of the session and for asking all those questions. We thank you, and we've come to the end of the session. Thank you very much, colleagues.
Thank you.
Phew.
Well done.
Yo, it's done.
Well done to you.
Rasebi.